Morning. Welcome to today's class on HVAC for Journeyman.
Oh, you did?
Okay, what did we learn yesterday?
That the system still leaks.
Does the system has a leak in it, and how do we know that?
Because the pressure went.
Will you please bring up my computer?
Because one side I had a high temperature, one side I had a low temperature.
Look behind you guys. This right here is a charging chart. York Central Talk is where I found it. There's hundreds of these online, so you can find it pretty easily. I usually carry one in my service book. There's always one. So let's see here. Low ambient temperature on under full metering device. Wonder what that means. Under full. You ever heard of that word?
I've never.
Missing refrigerants or missed refrigerants. Well, I don't know about this one. Suction line restriction, overfeeding metering device, bad valves, overcharged, undercharged. Okay, well, yesterday we were undercharged, so our suction pressure was low. Our superheat was high. Our head pressure was low. Our subcool was low, and our amps were low. We didn't check the amps, but I'm sure that they were low. Okay, so what is the job of the evaporator coil, I ask then? Ralph, give me one part of it. Evaporator coil does so much.
It changes the state of the refrigerant.
It does. It changes the state of refrigerant.
I mean, that's because we got all of it in one.
Okay, that's a very good answer. What does it do to the refrigerant, Sean?
Changes it from a liquid to a gas.
Yeah, so it boils it. Right, it's a liquid coming in, it's a gas coming out. Okay, that's this guy right here. Right? Oh, maybe nobody can see that. Let's flip it down once and then up, right there. All right. Yeah, so the refrigerant state is changing in there. What's happening to the refrigerant as it's changing that state, Mike? The temperature. What's happening to the temperature of the refrigerant as it's changing that state, Mike?
Removing the heat.
Is it getting warmer or is it getting colder?
That's the refrigerant. It's boiling, so it's getting warmer.
That's right. That's the exact answer that we're looking for. It boils and gets warmer, hotter actually. So, what temperature are we trying to keep the evaporator coil, Greg? Yeah, 40 degrees. We're really trying to keep a delta T of about 20 degrees. So if it's 70 degrees inside, we want our evaporator coil to be, no, if it's 70 degrees coming across it, we want our saturation temperature to be, no, that's not right. We want our return to be 20 degrees hotter than our supply. Right, Sean?
Mm-hmm.
20 or so.
Yeah.
20 plus or minus 5 degrees. Right? Don't you think? Everybody agree on that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the delta T, 20 degrees. All right, so that's what's going on in there. Yesterday, what was happening? So we want a superheat of 12 degrees, plus or minus 5 degrees, depending on how cold it is outside, but usually 12 degrees on a metering device that's fixed like this one. Okay, so what was happening yesterday? Our saturation temperature on our gauge was reading negative 20. And the temperature on our return to our compressor was reading 67. Do some math in my head, 96, 97 degree superheat. That's a high superheat. When our target is 12, right?
Just a little high.
It's a little high. So our head pressure and I did not look, but I think it was about 70 degrees. And coming in and 70 degrees coming out. That's a 0 degree superheat. So as you're thinking about it, your evaporator coil is heating up because of the air transfer or liquid. It could be liquid. All refrigeration systems work the same, okay? Whether it be liquid transfer or air transfer or, yeah, those two, liquid, air, okay? So we had our measured temperature was 67 degrees on our suction line, and our saturation temperature was -20. So that tells us immediately that we're undercharged, right? That or we have a restriction in our system. Okay? But we didn't have a restriction in our system. Our head pressure was low. Okay. So we've got to recover the refrigerant out of this system and recharge it with nitrogen. This is classic refrigeration. Okay? But first, I noticed that we had two light tanks here, and my pressure on these tanks is about 40 degrees on one, which is -10 in 410A, and 100 degrees on the other, which is 30 degrees, but it's not that in here. So I'm going to hook this up to our recovery machine, and first we're going to recover these tanks so we can recycle them. Okay, so when you have a tank, recover the refrigerant out of it. If it's empty and you don't have time, just put it in a pile and write empty on the side of it that needs recovered. Okay, and I'm going to hook it up to here. Vapor side's fine, liquid side's fine, it's not going to matter. But then I need to bleed these lines out so I have good refrigerant, because this tank is my refrigerant, and this is what we're going to use for projects around here, because I own it. I own these two tanks, and I own the refrigerant that's in this. You need to get a scale out and weigh your refrigerant as you're pulling it out, and keep track of it. This is an empty tank. It says on the side,
I think it's on
It's
this
on this
side.
side right there. And that total weight right there.
total weight 16.4 pounds. So this should be able to hold 16.4 pounds, and you should be able to recover into it 26.2 pounds. So this is a 10-pound tank. And you can find that information on the side. So if I put this on this scale, it should read 16.4 pounds. It reads 17 point something pounds, 17.09 pounds.
Hose.
Oh, you have a hose on there. 16.5 pounds. Was it?
16.4.
16 pounds 5 ounces. That's pretty close to 16.4 pounds. 16 ounces in a pound. Okay, so I have to bleed out my lines. Hear that? That's going into this tank. Yep. And it's equalized. So now I need to know what do I need to pump this system down to be within the law. Bring it back to my computer. On EPA's website, you can find a required level of evacuation of appliances. Uh-oh, my first one went away. Maybe it didn't. Okay. So very high pressure appliance, 0. High pressure appliance or isolated components such as an appliance with full charge less than 200 pounds of refrigerant, 0. That's us. So 0. So I need a gauge if I'm using this piece of equipment. If I'm using our other recovery machine, I don't need a gauge. I just need 3 hoses. 1 hose to the recovery machine. Actually, 2 hoses, right? 1 hose to your equipment, 1 hose to the recovery machine. With this one, I could do it with 3 hoses. 1 hose to a gauge, and then 1 hose to the recovery machine. So let's see. This thing has to be completely open. Everything has to be completely open in order for this recovery machine to work. Uh-oh. That did not work. You know why?
Not plugged in.
Not plugged in. Now don't embarrass me, recovery machine.
Fails in 5 seconds.
Don't say that. We have to use it later.
Alright, everything's open. Double check, make sure everything's open. There she goes. Bring it down to this gauge here, Steph. I'm recovering from 2 tanks right now. Can you move over to here? To your, this way? Keep coming. You can see that we're increasing in weight on our scale there. And if you move back over to these, or just zoom in on these, maybe I can just go like this. We're decreasing in pressure. Our tank is getting warmer. This tank here with this recovery machine, and we're going to see by the time we're done recovering all this, if this recovery machine shuts off because of high head pressure. As you can see, we're really raising up on our scale there, taking out refrigerant. We've got to get these down to 0, which we're almost there now. And they've just got to hold at 0. We're getting closer. See that better when I do that? Like that. That's better anyway, isn't it? So we're going to do this to these tanks, empty them out, and then we're going to do it again. So the recovery machine has a connection from your system. Well, I'm not touching his water. Let's see what I got. On my phone. So the recovery machine's pretty easy. It has an input and it has an output. All you're doing is you're going from your equipment to the gauge, to the end, to the tank. All the valves have to be open. The tank has to be ready for refrigerant. So either have 0 psi and filled with 410A or have a vacuum on it. Or R22. Don't mix refrigerants in tanks. If you're pulling out refrigerant and it's R22, write it on the tank. So nobody mixes it. We're 0 on this one. Turn that off. So that's staying at 0. So I'm measuring from the hose. And I'm on 0 on that one. And that's staying at 0. So these tanks are now empty. Now we're going to connect to this. Oh, some refrigerant in there. Much different sound, right guys? Tank is starting to get warm now. This thing has a high head shut off on it. Okay? It's got a red light right here. It says warning, high head pressure, shut off indicator. If this has too high a head, which it could easily have, and look, now we're really moving up. 18 pounds, 5.9. I don't know. Its pressure is probably like 410 degrees, 10 psi or something. 410A. What's 410 psi on your temperature and pressure gauge? We can find that out. Let it pump and I'll look it up on the internet. Steph, will you bring it to my computer? Anybody, this is a CPS TR21. What did you say? 119 degrees at 410 psi. High pressure shut off on the TR21 is 550 psi with an auto reset. Go ahead and bring it back to our lab. What's 550 psi temperature? $143. Pretty hot. It is hot. Hot to the touch. Can you see my IR gun? It should be right next to those snips. And it's thin and yellow.
It says climbing.
Look, we're down to 0 psi now, guys. You see that right there? 0 psi. The head of that is 114 degrees. 120 degrees for the head of this compressor. So it is quite warm. Alright, so now I'm at 0 PSI here. I'm going to shut us off. So everybody see 0 PSI? That's the requirement to pump down. You can look at the TV. Can you go in on this? Oh, it raised a little bit. Can you come in on this right here? Ooh. See, it raised it. Whoa! 0 PSI, it raised a little bit. So we got to pump more. Here, when you have them empty, when it's empty, open it up. You can write empty on there. Got my marker. Missing an eye? Is that right? No? Enmity. Greg, I'm a refrigeration technician. I don't have to spell. There's your answer.
You're right, you don't have to spell it until somebody wants to read it.
You know what else I have? I'm going to tell you. I've got the Google. I got Stephanie. I got Alexa. Okay, look. Are we rising? Go ahead and zoom in on that guy again. Are we rising up past 0? 0, 0, 0. I would say 0 is good. Are we going to have a little bit of gas in here?
Probably.
Now we have to close the tank.
Yeah, better close the tank.
Don't you have to purge the recovery machine?
I don't think that
This
has
one
a-
doesn't have a purge.
Yeah.
Just use a short hose. See that hose right there?
Yeah, Greg, use a short-
Sometimes short's better, Greg. You know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to break the law. But check it out. Take this hose right here and leave it with this recovery machine, which is probably going to get damaged in the box. Right? So I'm going to take this hose and I'm not going to leave it with the recovery machine. I'm going to put these caps back on it though, because I care about my recovery machine.
How much did that cost?
Let's find out how much one costs these days. Pull it to my computer, Steph.
Isn't that your next tool, Sean?
Eventually, yeah.
Make sure if you buy a recovery machine that it's for the A2Ls, right? Who knows what an A2L is?
It's a refrigeration
Which is,
classification.
and what is that refrigerant classified as? Low flammability. Okay, so let's go CPS TR21. Ooh, look at those prices right there. TR21. How
Ain't
about
bad.
we go, but that's not a L2.
I think the vacuum pump is like 200.
Oh, I ordered 2 used vacuum pumps. They're brand new. Someone returned them. They're 8 CFM. I got them for like under $250, I think, which is a damn good price. Normally like $500. CPS 6000. Ooh, look at that one.
Oh yeah, $1,069.
$1,069.
It looks like
Sparkless oilless twin cylinder. That one is an AL2.
oilless.
They're all oilless. This one's oilless. That one's a nice one. Ooh, looks like it could go fast too, doesn't it? Oh, what are you guys doing to us? 5% off? Okay.
Getting advertisements.
Ooh, that does look fast, doesn't it?
Doesn't Milwaukee have one that's a vacuum pump that runs on battery?
There's some vacuum pumps that are battery operated vacuum pumps, which would be nice, but you know what? Technicians love to run extension cords.
No, they don't.
Why don't you look down on the table again, Steph? This here isn't pull out, will you?
Well,
This one isn't as junky as normally it is. But when you're a refrigeration technician, you'll have 40 tools laying on the ground before you even know it. I mean, everywhere you go. You start unloading tools and pretty soon you have tools lined out everywhere. It takes a lot of tools to be a heating and air conditioning technician. Electrical tools, plumbing tools, HVAC tools, all of that. So being an HVAC technician, you'll get to know almost every tool there is at some point. Okay, well, bring it up on me. Ooh, what do you think?
He brought the finger guns.
Pew 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 pew.